The bright lights of the television studio shimmered as the music began to swell, announcing the start of the Newlywed game. The air was thick with excitement and the sweet scent of fresh beginnings. On this stage, 4 couples stood ready to prove how well they knew their partners. First, there was couple number 1, Teresa and Richard Davis, who had been married for 14 months. Beside them stood couple number 2, Laura Lee and Sonny Batista, who had said their vows only 3 months ago. Couple number 3, Andrea and Brian Ledford, had tied the knot 10 months prior, and finally, couple number 4, Stephanie and Jack Lapidus, had exchanged their rings 22 months before this day. Then, with a burst of energy, the star of the show, Bob Eubanks, walked out to thunderous applause. He thanked the audience with warmth and welcomed the 4 couples to the game. He promised everyone a wonderful time, noting that one lucky pair would win a fabulous second honeymoon. To start the festivities, Bob asked the ladies to head off to the soundproof room. As they departed, he explained to the husbands that the first round would consist of 5-point questions where they had to predict exactly how their wives would answer. The first question sought to uncover the most romantic time of day. Jack believed his wife, Stephanie, would choose the time when the moon shines bright, noting she was definitely not a morning person. Brian and Sonny both predicted their wives would favor the moment when the sun goes down. Sonny added with a chuckle that his wife usually waited until he was sleepy to surprise him with her affection. Richard, however, stood alone in choosing the morning, predicting his wife would say when the sun comes up. Bob then moved to a more humorous topic, asking what one thing about the wife's family really cracked the husband up, even if the wife did not find it funny at all. Brian immediately mentioned his mother-in-law. Sonny, Richard, and Jack all pointed toward their sisters-in-law. Sonny mentioned silly comments, while Richard laughed about the way his sister-in-law just put her jokes out there. Jack found his sister-in-law's lack of direction particularly hilarious. The final question of the first round was a bit more daring. The husbands had to complete a sentence about what their wives wore that looked far from sexy, while suggesting a friend who looked much better in it. Sonny honestly admitted his wife did not look sexy in her girdle and suggested her friend Cheryl instead. Richard chose tight pants and named Sonia as the one who wore them better. Jack picked pink fuzzy slippers and nominated Rochelle. Brian concluded by mentioning a lift bra and named Marquis as the friend who could pull it off. After a brief pause to honor the legendary Pearl Bailey, the ladies returned to the stage. The tension was palpable as the couples reunited. When asked about their favorite romantic time, Teresa, Laura Lee, Andrea, and Stephanie all unanimously chose when the sun goes down. This meant hits for Brian, Sonny, and Jack, but a miss for Richard. Teresa was shocked that Richard thought she liked the morning, insisting she always slept in, while Richard playfully argued that she was the one who was usually too tired at night. When the topic shifted to family, the matches were fewer. Laura Lee thought Sonny would mention her mother, but he had chosen her sister. Andrea mentioned the family Olympics, which did not match Brian's answer about her mother. Stephanie and Teresa also missed their marks, with Teresa being particularly surprised that Richard found her sister goofy. The third question brought even more laughter. Andrea correctly matched Brian on the lift bra and her friend Marquis, earning them 5 points. Stephanie was disappointed to hear Jack did not like her favorite pink fuzzy slippers. The most dramatic moment came when Teresa learned Richard thought Sonia looked better in tight pants. She was stunned, reminding him that he had always claimed to like her in them. Sonny's mention of the girdle also caused a stir, especially since Laura Lee did not even know who the friend Cheryl was. The game then transitioned to the 10-point round. Now it was the husband's turn to go to the soundproof room while the wives made their predictions. Bob asked the ladies about their last mattress marathon and who crossed the finish line first. Andrea, Laura Lee, Teresa, and Stephanie all agreed that their husbands were the ones to reach the finish first. Next, the ladies predicted how long it took to become emotionally and physically involved. Teresa estimated 1 month for emotions and 1 week for the physical side. Stephanie guessed 2 months for emotions and 3 months for physical. Andrea and Laura Lee both gave a very short timeline, suggesting 2 weeks or a week for emotions and a mere 1 day for physical involvement. Finally, for the 25-point bonus question, almost all the wives predicted their husbands had mostly ones in their wallets, except for Andrea, who joked that there was probably no money in Brian's wallet at all. The husbands returned for the final showdown. On the question of the mattress marathon, every single husband admitted he crossed the finish line first, resulting in a perfect sweep of points for all 4 couples. However, the timelines for involvement proved trickier. Jack and Stephanie were slightly off, leading to a playful debate about whether kissing counted as physical involvement. Richard and Teresa also had a discrepancy, leading to a hilarious story about a New Year's Eve encounter in a basement. Sunny and Laura Lee matched perfectly on their 1-week and 1-day timeline. Brian, however, was far off, guessing it took a whole year for physical involvement, while Andrea had said 1 day. Before the final question, the prize was revealed, a romantic trip to a beach resort in Mexico. The stakes were high. For the bonus question regarding the contents of their wallets, Richard guessed 10s, which did not match Teresa's guess of 1s. Jack correctly guessed 1s, matching Stephanie and taking the lead. Brian guessed 1s, but Andrea had guessed something else, so they missed out. Finally, it all came down to Sunny. He hoped his wife said 1s because that was all he had. When the card was flipped, it revealed Laura Lee had indeed said 1s. With a final score of 50 points, Sunny and Laura Lee Batista were declared the grand prize winners. The studio erupted in cheers as the couples embraced. Bob Eubanks thanked everyone for playing, leaving the audience with a heart filled with laughter and the joy of seeing these new marriages embark on such a fun journey together. It was a day of honesty, humor, and above all, love.